So this morning I ran into an old friend at the gym. We had that natural small talk that most people have when they don't see each other in a while. And one of the questions I asked him was, "How are you?" Right? And he told me he's good, but he had a long pause in between and said, "But I haven't been to the gym in a while." Right? So I asked him, how long has it been? And he said about 2 weeks, 1 week, right? And I asked him, "Why do you think that is?" And he looked around, he pondered, looked around the room, looked down at his hands, and he just looked up at me and he said, "I just lack the motivation," right? He says, "I work a long shift at night, I work overnight, and I feel like I never have the energy to go to the gym, right? I lack the motivation." And I asked him, "Do you think you lack motivation, or do you actually lack a structure?" See, because not always are you going to be able to lean on a feeling. Not always are you going to be able to lean on motivation. But when you have a system to hold you accountable, to hold you disciplined, to lean on, regardless if you're tired, regardless if you have no energy, regardless if you just simply don't feel like it, that system is going to bring you to where you need to for your goals. And that's why motivation fails, but a system never does. See, there's 5 pillars to a successful system. And that is exactly what I have inside of the Ascend method. So today I'm going to show you guys the exact 5 structures that you could follow to bring yourself to point A to point B, regardless of what you were doing, whether it's inside the gym, whether it's with your mindset, or you just simply are trying to improve overall just 1% better. Today I'll go into depth how to do that. So guys, just like I was just saying, motivation is not going to be your end all be all for your goals, right? Motivation is a feeling. And feelings only care how they feel. You cannot lean on motivation to have a successful lifestyle. You can't lean on wanting to feel like going to work out or wanting to walk towards a financial goal or walk towards the freedom that you always seek, because your feelings are never going to always feel like that, right? But if you have a system, if you have a disciplined system that you can follow, that keeps you aligned, a structured system that keeps you towards your weight loss goal, towards your financial goal, towards that freedom you desired, you're going to eventually have it, right? For example, for me, I lost 80 pounds 4 or 5 years ago, right? 5 years ago. I never felt like losing 80 pounds. Over and over again, it was such a mental battle to do such a thing, but I leaned on a system to get me to point A, from point A to point B, all right? So this is the exact system that you could use to apply to any single goal you have in your life. So, right, first one, we need to figure out why the motivation is failing. We need to figure out why motivation fails compared to a structured system that does not fail. Right? So like I was just saying, motivation is emotion based and it fades when your feelings do. One day, it's like, say, let's use a fire as an analogy, right? Motivation can be that fire starter. It could be that match that starts the wood, but you need wood to actually supply the fire. And then wood keeps on going and it keeps the fire going, right? The match can be the motivation for this example. But the wood is the system, the wood is the discipline, the wood is the thing that you are going to show up with and keep that fire going. You can't lean on the motivation because the match only starts such a fire. But if you have a structured system, the fire keeps on going. All right. So when you don't feel like going to the gym, when you don't feel like showing up to study for your test, for work, when you don't feel like trading or day trading, whatever your financial goal is to get you to where you want to be, you are not going to do it every day because you're not going to feel like doing it. But if you have a structured system to fall in place, you would do it 9 times, 10 times out of 10. All right. Second thing is you cannot rely feeling ready to act every day. It's the same thing I was just saying, right? You can't rely on yourself to feel a certain way. We are humans. We have emotions. We feel things for a reason. If I'm constantly if one day I'm tired, I woke up this morning, I was so exhausted from playing basketball yesterday. I played basketball for 3 hours. I got home. I was absolutely cooked. I woke up this morning. It felt like I got hit like a bus. I got hit by a bus, right? Did I want to go to the gym at 6 a.m. this morning? No. There was not an ounce of me that wanted to. When I woke up the first 3 minutes, I wanted to press snooze. I wanted to just go back to bed. I wanted to just go under my covers because it's winter, it's freezing, it's dark, it's gross, but the system kept me to do it. The feeling would have laid back in bed, but the system and the discipline kept me to go to the gym and do my morning routine like I always do. So do not rely on feelings. And systems keep you moving even when your mood does not. It's the same fire analogy. The spark or the match can be the motivation, right? It's okay to be motivated, but the motivation never lasts. Just like the match is not going to keep the fire alive forever. You need wood to supply that fire, right? So the wood is your system and the match is your motivation, if you will. So second, this is going to be such a pivotal piece to your system, to whatever structure, to whatever cornerstone you were trying to make, building a morning routine that grounds you, right? There's a reason that you've heard it probably thousands of times. You probably even listened to the TED Talk in high school. that making your bed is such a powerful tool, right? Because when you make your bed, you're starting the day with intention, right? You are starting the day with something that's productive, and it wires your brain to want to be productive the rest of the day, all right? So you have to start the day with intention, and you cannot react to the way you feel in the morning. If I woke up this morning and reacted to the way I felt, tired, just out of energy, I wouldn't have gone to the gym. I wouldn't be making this video. I would not be creating the reels or creating the future dashboard I have for my clients. I wouldn't do none of that because that feeling did not want to do any of that today. But the intention to do that as I set in the morning and I did everything I needed to do got me to this place I'm at right now making this video. All right. So with your morning routine, you need to anchor 2 to 3 habits that center your mind and your body towards your goal. For example, my habits that I do, I'll Bible and prayer, right? I'll drink my 32 ounces of water, and then I'll journal, or I'll do weighted core. I'll do read a book, right? I do all 5 of those things every day, but you don't need to have just 2 to 3 habits. You can have multiple. But I would say you need one for your mind, you need one for your body, and then you could have one for both, all right? So it's so simple. You can do 32 ounces of water, you can read a book, and you could go and do 50 push-ups or a cold shower, right? All of those are going to wire yourself to where you want to be at the end of the day. So if you win the morning, you control the narrative of the day. It now sets the subconscious to wire itself to want to do stuff for the rest of the day. If you start the day with a win, then you are going to want more wins the rest of the day, right? But if you start the day with a loss, then you already accepted defeat, right? A loss is you accepted defeat. There is no coming back from that. So if you start the day with a loss, why would I'm okay with losing the rest of the day, but if I win, I want more wins. As humans, we're going to want more. We're going to want more. So start your day with a win and set that desire immediately. So third, you have to focus on 5 needle-moving tasks for the day, all right? If I have goals, right? Let's say my goal is to help as many people as possible, right? That is a goal of mine. I can have that goal at the end, destination point. But if I have no way to actually help people, if I don't know how to help people, if I don't know how to supply towards people, how am I going to get this goal? That goal is pretty much nothing. There is no intention. There is no action. So without action, there is no reason to make a goal. All right. So you have to identify the few actions that create real progress. You have to identify the few actions that are going to get you that real goal that you want. If your goal is to lose weight, okay, I want to lose weight. That's the end goal, right? How do I lose weight? I start to learn how to eat better. I start to follow a structured workout program. I start to sleep better. I start to treat and love myself better, right? All of these are stepping stones that you're going to use to get to the end goal, which is lose weight. But if you don't know how to do that, how do you expect to lose weight, all right? So you have to have 5 needle-moving tasks that are keeping you the course of your goals. So it is important to have things that you're going to do today. For example, before making this video, what was a needle-moving task? I needed to make these Google Slides, right? I needed to set the frame of mind and the theme of mind, right? The theme was that you can't lean on motivation. All of these things are needle-moving tasks for me to make the video. The same could be said, what is your 5 needle-moving tasks to get towards your goal? Is it to lose weight? Is it to get a better job? Is it a better just to love yourself and feel better? What are 5 needle-moving tasks that you can do to get yourself towards that set goal? And all of the 5 needle-moving tasks do is it just keeps you the course. It keeps you along that path from point A to point B. It's the bridge. And if you have those 5 needle-moving tasks, that bridge is so much more and more clear as you walk along to the end of your bridge, all right? So progress is going to compound when your energy goes to impact, right? When you feel like you just don't have the energy, the tasks are going to be there for you to lean on and for you to know you can refer to when your brain is just running on mush. Fourth, you have to train with structure, right? So that could be not just in the gym train with structure, but just train your mind with structure, follow a plan with structure, do everything with structure because with structure comes success. All right, you can't just wing it and follow. You can't just show up to the gym and wing it, right? Because for an X amount of time, that's not going to last, right? I was looking around at the gym this morning and I was seeing people working out, and God bless, it wasn't in like a judgmental way. It was just like I want to help this person way, right? You see people that are going to make progress and they're going to grow muscle doing things the incorrect way, but only for a certain amount of time, right? You have to follow a written plan with purpose, and when there is purpose behind action, there is going to be success on the other side for you, right? So you can't wing it anymore. You have to follow a written plan with purpose, and you will get to where you want to be. Every rep is data. Systems remove the guesswork. So every time that you do a repetition, whether it's in the gym, whether it's at home, when you're better in your mindset, even you eat a meal, even you study for class, right? You have repetitions and data for you to measure to put in your system. But if you're just guessing game, how do we know what to work on? How do you know what to grow upon? How do you know what to build your blocks off of to get towards your goal? All right. And when you have structure, there's such peace. All right. I can use an example. 5 years ago, I had no structure. All right. I would wake up, get high. I'd have set goals, but I never actually knew how to accomplish them because I had no structure. There was no actual game plan. Right. So what that feeling to me, it just made me feel empty because I wasn't fulfilling the goal I had in mind. I wasn't losing the weight, so then it made me feel empty because I didn't walk towards losing weight. And that feeling of regret, that feeling of just not feeling whole because I wasn't keeping myself to the standard that I wanted to keep myself to, ultimately led me to be depressed. And it did not bring any peace in my life. Right? But once I started to follow a structured plan and walk towards the goals that I set in my mind every single day, it brought such clarity in my brain. It brought such clarity to my spirit. Right? And when you do these things, you too can have the peace. But if you're not going to be having a structured lifestyle, don't expect any peace. It's just going to cause you to crash out, burn out, and be depressed like I once was. Right? So don't learn from my mistakes and don't do what I was doing 5 years ago. And last, you have to plan, prep, and rewire the routine. All right? So meal prep is a good way to do it. Daily planning is a good way to do it. But once you are actually properly prepared, you're going to reduce your decision fatigue, right? You're going to reduce the spiritual fatigue that you have. If you are properly prepared, you're going to prevent a poor performance. It's the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents a poor performance. Once you have these things prepared properly in your mind, it's going to reduce your ability to fail. All right? Systems automate discipline. So you don't really even have to have emotion installed into your system. Like I said this morning, I'll use the example again. I woke up. I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like working out. I was just hit by a bus, it feels like, because I just played basketball. My brain, my body, my mind, everything, mush. But the system installed discipline already in me because I just had something to do. All I had to do was show up. I'd just try it. So what I did is I started my morning routine. I drank my 32 ounces of water. I prayed. I read my Bible. I journaled. I read my book. I did my 50 sit-ups, right? When I did these things, that is the act of discipline, right? I need to lean on my emotions. I leaned on my system because now the discipline is the system, all right? And when you rewire your routine, that what follows is consistency. And what follows the consistency is peace. It's the same example. Once I changed my routine after being depressed and not being fulfilled from the actions that I wanted to do, once I rewired my brain like I was just talking about, then my consistency was rewired. I started to be a consistent, more version of myself, and that Isaiah 5 years ago wasn't capable of doing that. So once I started to be consistent, what followed from it is peace. And now I'm in the position to be happy and loving of my own body and my own mind. So all of these 5 pillars can be used in any aspect. Whether you want to do the gym, whether you just want to have a better job, whether you just simply want to have a better life, you could follow this routine. But if you are not doing anything to better yourself or not following a structure, then you're not going to really get as far as you'd want to. Motivation is going to hold you back, right? That match only lasts so long. You need the wood to supply the fire, right? And this is exactly why I built the Ascend method. To be able to see other people prevent their mistakes and learn from my experiences to get them from point A to point B, right? Simply, everyone deserves to be successful. Everyone deserves to love themselves. Everyone deserves to have a system, right? And succeed and see themselves in the position they've always wanted to. So there's a call link below that you guys can schedule and book a call with me to figure out where you need to go with your goals, figure out what the pain hurdle is, figure out what needs to be done to get you from point A to point B with your goals. And if it does not benefit you, then simply we can just figure out a method to help you after we leave off the call. So feel free. It's a free call. It takes about 30 minutes. Link is in my bio below or the description below. But without further ado, I hope anyone listening to this video applies just one of these cornerstones, one of these pillars in their day-to-day life, and watch how you improve.